Carmen is sitting next to Luke, an oddly handsome man whose shirt is covered in puke. They've just finished having sex.
That was nice. Is that a sex thing?
What?
Puking on someone, because I know that there's peeing and pooping, but...
I don't think so. I mean, I think Shannon has
Has that happened before?
Yes and no. I usually make it to the toilet first.
Oh.
It's not...
Is it like squirting?
What?
Like you get so excited that you vomit.
Not quite. Sex sometimes feels too intimate, and if it does, I cry or I vomit, or both.
That's cool.
It's not cool.
I mean, was it something that I did?
No.
What was it?
Well, you kept trying to make eye contact.
Huh?
When we were doing it.
Is that an excuse or are you serious?
I'm serious.
You vomited because of eye contact.
It's not the weirdest thing someone could do.
Is it just eye contact?
Well, no. My most recent ex, he would always say I love you during sex, and that was really hard to digest.
You were together a while though, right?
2 years.
2 years is significant.
Don't you have things that scare you sexually?
I mean, pegging probably, but does love bother you always, or is it just in those moments?
No, I love people. I love so many people. Sex is a physical act. It doesn't need to get all emotional.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I don't love you, and that was still great sex until the vomit. But intimacy isn't attached to emotions always. It's the act of being close to someone. It doesn't have to mean sex.
Yeah, I know that.
You know, both my siblings are therapists.
Whoa.
I obviously don't see them for that reason, but
you think there's
they're both
something
great.
wrong with me?
No. What? No, not at all. Not at all.
Because I do. Sometimes I think I'm a sex addict.
My dad's a sex addict. I don't think you're a sex addict.
Really?
Yeah, why do you think both my siblings are therapists?
Do you want to talk about it?
It's okay. I see someone for that.
For sex addiction?
No, for what happens when you grow up with an addict as a father. I thought he was the worst person in the world, which was hard, but what was harder was accepting that he was actually just a human with good and bad shit just like everyone else.
I tend to always see the good in people, like always, and it's gotten me in a bit of trouble over the years. I tend to overlook things I shouldn't and then be far too forgiving.
Well, you can't blame yourself for the faults of others. You know that, right?
I guess. It's like I see it as a concept, but I can't adopt it as a practice.
My dad's shit fucked me up too, but that's not on me. If I ever shed any of that residual guilt onto you, then that's not on you. We're all kind of in a cycle of trauma bonding and sharing, and it's one thing when we realize it, but most of the time we don't, and we're just passing along our shit to other people without their consent, and they're doing that to the next person, and so on and so on.
You're like really in tune with your emotions.
No, not that much actually. The bar's just really low. I like this. This is really nice, but do you mind if I wash off really quick?
Yeah, of course. Sorry again.
The dress you were wearing is great, but I've got some sweats and some t-shirts in that dresser right there if you want to wear those instead, or stay like that, or I'll be right back.
Luke leaves and Carmen faces the audience. Spotlight on her.
You know how after a heartbreak, how you just want to watch Shrek and eat Dominoes and pretend like it'll heal everything? It totally does the trick. Sometimes. There's also exercise. I'm always down for a quick fix, even though I know therapy is the only answer to my problems. Is this a play about trauma? We don't have to go there. Oh, we could. But once we go there, we can't go back. But I guess to go forward, I have to go back. Back over a decade at this point. Trigger warning.
A young white man enters onto the stage.
Well, not for this guy, but you'll see. This is Marcus. Marcus is a fake name. I've given all these people fake names because that's what I've noticed real writers tend to do, and it's seen as classy. But if you know, you know. He was a German foreign exchange student at my high school. He was my first love. I locked eyes with him when I was in a Speedo. When he was in a Speedo. When he was... When I was 14 and he was 16, I had just had 3 teeth pulled, so my face looked like this as he walked past me at swim practice.
Marcus walks across the stage and Carmen looks at him with her mouth paralyzed, both from the drugs and his beauty.
No one will ever be like your first love. Unless you're one of those people who gets married to their first love. And in that case, fuck you. Mom, if you're watching this, that includes you too. Once it's over, it becomes more of a fantasy than a reality.
Carmen looks at Marcus in the eyes.
You didn't fuck me up on purpose. It was unavoidable. I was a baby, and you were out of a fairy tale. I sometimes imagine us reuniting like in a rom-com when I'm listening to Joy Division, but I know that'll never happen.
Marcus exits the stage.
I've had many significant others in my life, but we'll call Marcus number 1, and we'll call this piece of white bread number 2.
Ryan enters the stage.
This is Ryan. That's his real name. I don't know what other name to give him. He looks like a Ryan, he acts like a Ryan. He looks too put together to be a Kyle, but he's too boring to give a better name to. Even something like Lucas sounds too nice.
Ryan is a standard-looking white male.
Don't let his average appearance fool you. He's capable of so much more than you think. We technically only dated for 3 months, but the fuckery in its entirety lasted 3 years. Why? I asked myself that a lot. My friends asked me that a lot. It was for the validation, don't worry. I didn't actually think that this dude could be the love of my life. He ended things when we went off to college, but we continued to talk as fools do. The thing about Ryan was that he hated my childhood friend, Evan. Evan was the popular football player whose parents let him throw parties every weekend after games. Yes, with alcohol, yes, with drugs, yes, with sex. Lots of people hated Evan. He had one of those personalities that if you had met him at your church's Sunday school when you were 5, you'd probably think he was just an ass. If you hadn't met him at your church's Sunday school when you were 5, you'd probably think he was just an asshole, which he was, but if you knew him well enough, you'd make excuses for his behavior. I went to a typical weekend party at Evan's following my breakup with Ryan. Evan and I had already had consensual sex at this point, right after Marcus and I broke up 2 years prior. We were those 2 people who would always flirt regardless of if we were dating other people and would go all the way if we weren't. I went to the party, drank Captain Morgan, flirted and kissed Evan, all with the guilt of knowing how angry Ryan would be if he found out. And that's why when Evan and I went to his bedroom, I couldn't bring myself to have sex with him. I was still too committed to Ryan, even though he was no longer committed to me. But what did consent look like in 2013?
Carmen looks at Ryan. He turns away. She faces out again.
It didn't really exist. I said no, multiple times actually, but this was back when boys shouted no means yes, yes means anal, so it was yes or it was no, I don't know. But we had sex. Well, I was assaulted, but in my mind I just had a shitty night.
Carmen looks again to Ryan.
You found out. Evan's on again, off again fling told you, and you called me at school while I was in the middle of AP English, demanding answers, leaving me to cry in a bathroom. And after school, on the side of the road, while on the phone with you, you called me a spiteful slut. I tried telling you I said no, that I didn't want it, that I told him to stop, which didn't help the situation. You said either he raped me, and I needed to talk to the police immediately, or that I had sex with him, like the spiteful little slut I am. In that moment, newly 17, I couldn't bring myself to condemn a boy I'd known the majority of my life, who I was still forced to attend weekly church services with, and my friends are friends with his friends, and my mom knows him, and so I picked my poison. You told me you were planning on asking me out the following weekend when you were back in town, but that I'd ruined any chances of that.
Carmen faces the audience.
The crazy part is, that was only 6 months into the 3-year journey. I don't need to talk about the rest. How you didn't like when I wore crop tops, or had my nails painted, or had my makeup done, and you definitely didn't like my tattoos. Or my anything, really. Until you did. But it was too late, and you showed up at my college apartment, unannounced, to find me with some other guy, and you grabbed me by my arms, and pinned me up against the wall, screaming in my face, demanding, I don't even know what. You left bruises on my skin, but the wounds went much deeper. My roommate pointed them out while in a Power Remix gym class, and I told her they were from a night of rough sex. Thankfully, someone else was there that night to intervene, because I don't know what you would have done. The guy I dated after you was a piece of shit, and my friends often wonder how I ended up with him. Yeah, he was an alcoholic, but I knew he would never lay a hand on me. Not in that way. And no one has since. You know, the thing about consent that really gets to me, it's not even that moment that's always the most traumatic part. I mean, I can only speak from my own personal experience, but it's how the moment changes you. Of course, events in life always change and affect you, but they're usually not done so directly at you. The part that feels most invasive about taking away consent is the fact that someone looked at you, and with an action viewed to them probably as nothing, they changed you forever. How you look at yourself, how you look at the world, how you feel on a molecular level, the therapy you have to pay for out of pocket because it's unfair to burden your friends with the emotional gravity your weight brings.
Ryan leaves the stage. The room is still. Carmen is alone on stage. She looks at the space around her, the emptiness of the void, the fullness and the loneliness, and then looks out.
I take full responsibilities for my actions in life, past, present, and future too. I've hurt people by being incredibly selfish or failing to think and perceive outside my own perspective, by saying inflammatory and careless things before taking the time to process my emotions. But I'd like to think that if I hadn't been sexually assaulted, if I hadn't been gaslit to a horrifying degree, if I hadn't been pinned up against a wall or called a spiteful slut or groomed by men twice my age, I don't know. I like to think I would have acted differently.
Carmen, still in her underwear and bra, goes to a dresser and pulls out a pair of pants and a sweater. She puts them on, not slowly, but not in a rush. She grabs a pair of tennis shoes from underneath the bed and puts them on. She takes a deep breath in. She grabs 2 of the chairs from the table stage right and sets them up at the front of the stage like a bench. Ethan enters. Carmen calls out for him.
Hey,
Ethan walks over and they embrace lovingly.
Hey,
how are you?
I'm good. All things considered, I'm good.
That's good.
It is good.
Good is good.
Did you switch jobs?
I did, yes.
Congrats.
Thank you. It's nothing crazy, just wanted a change of scenery.
It's important.
Yeah. I saw you seeing someone.
Yeah, social media.
It's like we don't even need to catch up. We already know each other's entire lives.
It's concerning.
I also saw that you lost at Scrabble pretty badly the other night.
God, we really put too much of ourselves online, don't we?
Probably, yes. Where did you meet?
You know her name, don't you?
I did see that.
Yeah.
It's Alyssa, right?
Yes, yeah, we met on Hinge. She saw the cats on my profile and sent a rose.
I told you to put them on there. You said no one would want a single cat out of 2, and I said a perfect person will want you for just that.
And I said, what happens when that person already has 2 cats? And you said...
Once you have 2 cats, you might as well have 50. The right person is gonna love all the things you find weird about yourself.
Are you seeing anyone?
No, not me. Not for a while.
Don't you always say that?
Yeah, but I mean it this time. I have a therapist holding me accountable.
You have a therapist.
Yes.
That's awesome.
You're right. They really do work.
I know you think that I'm sad and depressed now, but you didn't know me before I started seeing my therapist. I was a puddle of emotions.
I love puddles. I'm sorry.
About what?
So many things. Too many things. There's so much in my life that I never took the time to process, and then I got into the habit of dating these really shitty people, you know? Because if you date someone who drinks a 24-pack on a Tuesday and steals your security camera, anything you do can't be that bad. I know it's not an excuse for the way I treated you. You were just the first genuinely good person I had ever been with, and it scared me sometimes.
I'm not perfect either.
You're better than me.
You were always honest. Even the times that I wish that you weren't. But that counts for something.
Thanks for saying that.
You deserve love, Carmen. You're selfish and stubborn and controlling and emotional. But you deserve love.
Yeah, I was with someone for 3 years who hated all the things I liked about myself. It's taken me twice that time to love those things again. So, well, it's probably totally unfair of me to say, thank you for loving me when I didn't love myself and I didn't think anyone else would.
Do you want to get out of here?
Yeah.
Carmen smiles and turns to the audience. One final spotlight on her.
So, here I am. I think I've grown up a little. I no longer think the days are too long. In fact, they're rather short, actually. And I feel like I might have ADHD because I'm really bad at staying on task, but I might just be good at multitasking. I still have unhealthy patterns and habits, as we all do, but I'm much more self-aware. So I think that's a start. I fall in love far too easily, but people are really lovable, and I don't know, I'm a big proponent of when you find someone special, you should make sure they know that. Which now includes me.
A young woman appears on stage with a soft spotlight focused on her. Carmen catches sight of her in her peripheral and smiles to the audience. Blackout.